Yo, have you ever said yes when every part of you wanted to say no? Smiled when you were actually annoyed? Agreed just to keep the peace? Then went home and felt this quiet, heavy disgust with yourself? Like, why am I like this? Meanwhile, the person you just made happy has already moved on with their day, and you are sitting there replaying the conversation, feeling smaller than you did before they started. If that hits a little too close, you're not alone. A lot of people pleasers don't just struggle with boundaries, they secretly carry a deep, quiet hatred for themselves. And today we're going to talk about why. Alright, y'all, let's get straight into this. Alright, so Uno, we're going to go with they abandon themselves every single day. Alright, so here's the core of it. Every time a people pleaser overrides their own needs, their own opinions, their own limits, they are sending themselves a message. You don't matter as much as their comfort. Do that once, no big deal. Do it for years, your brain starts believing it. You stop trusting your own gut. You stop even knowing what you actually want. And eventually, you look in the mirror and feel a strange mix of emptiness and irritation. Because the person staring back has been trained to disappear. All right, so second point, I'll go with their self worth is completely outsourced. So this one is quite brutal. A people pleaser's sense of value is almost entirely based on how other people respond to them. If someone is happy with them, they feel okay for a minute. If someone is disappointed, they spiral. So their self esteem is constantly being rented out, never owned, and deep down they know it. That's why the hatred start forming because on some level they can feel how fragile and conditional their worth has become. It's exhausting to live like that. And part of them resents the version of themselves that keeps choosing it. So for three, I'll go with the resentment has nowhere else to go. Here's what most people miss. People pleasers often feel anger, a lot of it. But expressing that anger feels dangerous. So instead of directing it at the people who keep taking, they turn it inward. I'm too weak. I'm pathetic for always folding. I hate how I act. The anger doesn't disappear, it changes address, and self hatred becomes a safer container for all that frustration. Alright, so for fourth, I'll go with they've lost touch with who they actually are. When you spend years shape shifting to match whatever the room wants, you eventually forget the original shape. Preferences get blurry, opinions get soft, personality starts feeling like a performance, and nothing creates self hatred quite like realizing you don't fully know yourself anymore. It's a quiet identity crisis that never gets named out loud, just a constant low level feeling of I'm not real. Cinco. Saying no feels like becoming the bad guy. A lot of people pleasers were raised or rather trained by life to believe that having needs makes them selfish. So protecting themselves feels like an attack on someone else. In their mind, the options are be good and disappear, or the bad, or be bad rather, excuse me, be bad and finally take up space. Most of them would rather hate themselves for disappearing than risk being seen as difficult. That trade off is expensive, and over time, it breeds a deep self disgust. For six, let me see here. I guess I'll go with the hate is actually protection. This might sound strange, but sometimes the self hatred is a twisted form of self protection. If I already hate myself, then rejection from other people hurts a little less. If I already believe I'm not enough, then I won't be surprised when people treat me that way. It's a defense mechanism that turned against its owner. Painful, but understandable. Okay, so for a bonus tip, for a bonus tip, ladies and gentlemen, I'll go with start with one honest no. You don't have to transform overnight. Just practice one small, clean no this week. Not a dramatic speech, not a long explanation, just a calm, simple boundary. Then notice what happens in your body afterward. The discomfort is normal. The self respect that starts growing afterward is the beginning of something better. You don't fix people pleasing by becoming colder. You fix it by becoming more loyal to yourself. In closing, y'all, so why do people pleasers secretly hate themselves? Because they abandon themselves daily, because their worth lives in other people's hands, because the anger has nowhere safe to go except inward, because they've lost contact with who they actually are, and because saying no still feels more dangerous than self betrayal. But here's the truth: that quiet hatred isn't proof that you are broken, it's proof that some part of you is still fighting for you, the part that's tired of disappearing. You are not invisible to yourself anymore. You are just finally starting to notice the cost of always putting everyone else first. Okay, gang, if this video resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. As you already know, before leaving, I gotta hit you with the final question. Do you think people pleasing is mostly a learned survival skill, or does it come from a deeper fear of being truly seen? Let's talk about it.